Hello and welcome. Now, in this video, we're going to discuss how you can repurpose any video inside of NotebookLM. And what you'll want to do is you'll want to start with a new notebook. You can determine what the sources are going to be. Now, in this case, you're going to be using a video that you already have the rights to. So we're going to close out of this element, or what we can do is we can upload the video or videos to your NotebookLM notebook. First thing you're going to want to do is you're going to make sure the video is up to date. And what you'll need to do first is start with an exact understanding. Now, NotebookLM is only going to be looking at your document or your source. So it's not going to go outside of the source in order to determine what the AI is going to give to you. So we want the AI to give us a bullet point summary on exactly every point in the video. Now, of course, we could do this with a transcript. What we want here is a bullet point summary. We're going to use a very simple prompt, and we're going to ask for an exhaustive bullet point summary of this exact video. You don't want to necessarily pay attention to what this is going to tell us. This is going to give us a summary. What we need, though, is we need an exact rendering of what this video is about. Once we get that exhaustive summary, we're going to save it to a note. So we then have our exhaustive summary to a note. We're then going to use the ellipsis. We're then going to export this summary to a Google Doc. We should then have our source as a Google Doc. If you want to rename it, you can. Now that we have it in our Google Drive, what we want to do is go to Google Gemini, and we want to make sure that this information is up to date as of this specific minute. We're going to add in the document. We're going to insert it. And then we need to ask Gemini if everything in this document is up to date. Now, if you're going to be using Gemini, it's a good point here that you may want to use the canvas. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to use a canvas. And we're going to ask for Gemini to give us all of the points at which this document is not up to date. When you do this, you want to use the highest prompt as you can. We're going to use the extended prompt. And they're going to click enter. Gemini should tell us where the summary that we uploaded is going to be out of date. You do want to read through the list that Gemini has. What we then want to do is we want to then take that list and we want to rewrite the entire article. And so as we're going to do, we're going to ask Gemini now to rewrite the article based on all of the points that it found that made it out of date. So we should now have an up-to-date summary from the canvas. So what we can do is we can share and export it. We can export this new summary to Google Docs. So we now have our updated summary. We can now go back to NotebookLM, and we're going to add the new document as a source. So we're going to go to our drive. We're now going to add in the update. We're going to insert it. So now that we have this information, we're going to untick the video. And we have a few choices here in the studio menu. One thing that we can do is we can turn this into an audio overview. And if you turn it into an audio overview, one of the things you want to make sure that you understand is that a deep dive is going to be a conversation. And so if that's something that you want, you can use it. A brief is going to be one voice, but it's going to be about 2 minutes. A critique is typically going to be 2 voices, as is debate. So if you're just looking for a single voice, you're only going to be using the brief, and it is going to be brief. In fact, if you click on brief, you're going to see that you don't have a default length, and it's only going to be one length. Let's assume that you do want to use an overview, and you want to do a deep dive overview. Now, what you don't want to do here is just type in a plain language prompt here. You want to go back to Gemini, and you want Gemini to help you to write a prompt. And you want to be specific about what it is that you want. We're going to go back to Gemini, and what we're now going to do is we're going to open up a new chat. Inside of this new chat, what we're going to do here is we're going to start a new prompt. Now, it's going to be a good idea that you listen to a deep dive before you write your prompt and decide what you want. And there are going to be some things that you may hear in the deep dive that you may not necessarily want in a deep dive. In most cases, the hosts in any particular deep dive will do many of the same things across them. And so if you want to leave them out, you want to make sure that you put that into your prompt. You also want to make sure that you add to the prompt what you want the host to say. Now, it doesn't mean that the host will say automatically exactly the way you want it to be stated. However, you can attempt to make sure that the hosts are faithful to your brand. So you can adapt this prompt however you see fit. But once again, you do want to listen to a deep dive before you write your own prompt. One thing you can do is you can turn on guided learning. And what you can do is you can ask the AI to help you to improve your prompt. So we're going to turn on guided learning and we're going to get the AI to question us about the prompt and make sure that it has all the information that we want. So once we do that, we're going to attach our prompt. We can get it from our drive. We're then going to insert it. We're going to get the AI to tell us what we can do to improve the prompt. Now, we've asked for guided learning so it can ask us any questions it may need to know in order to assist us. So it's asking us what name the company should be consistently. So we're going to write in the name. Now it's asking us the core topic. So what we're going to do is we're going to upload the documents. We're just going to get that document from our Google Drive. We're going to insert it. And we're going to let the AI know that the document is attached. And we're then going to click enter. It's going to ask us another question, and we want to answer that question about what we want the host to do. And we do have another question from the AI, and again, the AI is using guided learning to do this. So we're going to go ahead and let the AI know that we are going to be working with beginners. So we will answer the AI. So what we now have is we have a final master prompt, and that's what we want. We want the prompt to be refined before we go to NotebookLM. And so we have a good idea that this prompt should work. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, we're going to export this prompt to Google Docs. Now we're going to copy the prompt. We're now going to head to NotebookLM. So we verified that NotebookLM is going to be working with the summary in particular. And so now we can paste in our master prompt that we just received. We're going to leave the default settings the way they are. We'll make sure and we'll take out the extraneous text. And we can now generate the audio. Now, the audio generation does not take place instantaneously. We're going to stop the video here. We're going to pick it up from the completion of the audio overview generation. Our audio is now complete. We can now listen in on our audio.
Another actionable intelligence briefing from Thomas Duncan One Consultants. Today, we are diving straight into how experienced digital marketers and KDP publishers can scale their existing brands by integrating branded children's books.
So our audio did as we asked. There will be those cases where you will prompt something and it will not make it into the audio, or the AI chooses not to add your tweak to the audio. However, we can take any video and turn it into a branded audio by using NotebookLM. Okay, so thanks, and I will see you in another video.